Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Make-A-Wish Alaska and Washington Live. I'm Michelle, and today we're going to hear from two very special Wish alumni. Now, these aren't just recent Wish recipients. These are Wish recipients who received their wish many, many years ago. They are meeting together for the first time in a while, but they do know each other. They are Tiffany and Cortney, and they're here to tell you a little bit about their story.
Tiffany, it's so great to see you. Hi.
I want my hands on you.
I know. It'll happen.
All right,
It'll
I know,
happen.
eventually. I know.
Oh,
So good to see you too. Yeah.
I love to have this opportunity to just hear. You've got one of the best wish stories I've ever heard. And so I'm just, would love to hear it again because I could never hear it enough about your wish and when it was granted.
All right. Well, I do want to preface it by saying I honestly every wish story is an incredible wish story, and that is one of the magical things about what we do here is that each one is unique. And mine happened to be my great love for Michael Jackson and the way that he danced. And so in 1988, almost actually next month in April, the anniversary of my wish, and I wished to go dance with him. And so I got to travel to Chicago and meet him ahead of time and spend the time with him and with his dancers, and then got surprised and invited up on stage to dance to Bad. So that was, so that happened. Yes. And it was, I mean, here I am all of this time later. And I credit that experience with a good portion of why I'm still here and still giving.
It was amazing.
Yeah. It was awesome. Yes. And I know that your wish had an incredibly lasting impact on you as well. And which is, again, why each of these is unique and special. So what was yours and what does it do for you now?
Well, I have to say there's definitely a part of me that regrets not thinking about asking for Michael Jackson for my wish. But in retrospect, when I think about the impact that my wish happened in 91, and I wished for 91. Okay, so I had a typewriter.
Yeah, right.
School, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to go to college, and I thought I cannot do college with a typewriter. So there was this new fancy thing, of course, computers, and you could have a color monitor in those days, which was kind of new.
Which weighed like 50 pounds. Yeah.
Right. It was massive. It was massive. And I got a very impressive color dot matrix printer. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
all the bells and whistles. Yes.
Yeah. That I think printed at the speed of my typewriter. So yeah, it was really incredible. But probably the most important piece of that was internet access. That's really what I wanted. And the connection, especially at a time when, you might feel very isolated. The connection to the outside world in that way just opened up so many possibilities for me.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
To tell me, like, the impact of your wish, I mean, I can only imagine. I get chills thinking about you on stage dancing to Bad. I also wish I was there to see that. But what did the impact have on you at the time, and then how has it continued to impact you?
I know I don't have to explain this to you, but going through something that frightening, and that uncertain as a teenager, it's already an unsettling time, and I think for me at that moment, I needed to remember that I was somebody before I got sick, right? That there was somebody in there that at one point had been healthy and had dreams and was looking forward to a future that I really had trouble keeping in front of me while I was, battling through the illness. And So I mean, although absolutely, I'm not going to pretend like being on stage with Michael Jackson wasn't awesome and sparkly and incredible. Really what it was for me was the experience of feeling well. I felt well. I felt whole. Um, I felt well, and I hadn't felt that way in a really long time. So it was inspiring to touch back into that part of myself. So that is absolutely, even though I couldn't have, articulated it probably exactly like that at that age, that is how it felt. I know that for sure. And now it changes for me all the time. I'd love to hear how it is for you too, especially when I became a mom. Really understanding what it is to face something that significant as a child, and bring that resilience and that I know that sense of I can do this. I can do hard things, right? And I can let the joy and the grief and the sadness all be together, right? And that can all be part of my story. And so that I try to remind myself of that now, even as grown up. So that's what it was like for me, for sure, and still is. And how about for you?
I just so relate to everything that you've shared. And similarly, at the time, it gave me, it really oriented me toward my future. It was sort of symbolic of focusing on the future. And also just something to distract me from, just going to treatment every day. And when I think about how that's affected me, that it really, when you talk about it's different things at different moments, I relate to that in a huge way. And I think about, there's certainly been moments throughout my life so far, and I expect there continue to be, to just face things that feel really big and scary. And then I anchor back to things that, to this experience. And I think, like, the courage, I think that created the well of, this is what I'm facing right now is not scary. I can put it in perspective. And to bring that kind of, I hope to bring that kind of energy and perspective to my 2.5-year-old. But right now he's certainly, he's teaching him what I'm teaching him right now, honestly.
Yeah. No, trust me, I know you. He can feel it.
Yeah.
He can feel
so
it.
If you could travel back in time to that moment and speak to that teenager who was facing what you were facing, what advice would you give to your younger self, especially at the time of your diagnosis?
Whew. That's a tricky one, isn't it? I think, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I think I would tell her, to believe in her, how brave she felt. I think that sometimes as a grown up, we tell ourselves, we doubt our brave, right? And so I think back then I would go back to her and just say, remember how this feels, and this is courage. This is what courage really feels like, and hold on to it, because I didn't always remember, right? I mean, it's, you get caught up in daily life, and especially the longer you're out in the world and, and living real life. I mean, gosh, you and I are, we are still so young, but not, I know, just kidding. I'm almost 50. So, but like real life happens, and sometimes you get distracted from what you really know in your heart, right? You get distracted more easily, I think, as a grown up from what is really true for you. And so yeah, that's what I'd tell her. I'd tell her, hang on to this and keep reminding yourself that this is actually what this feels like. So yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Really grounding. I have a dog in here.
There it is. Well, that's real life, right?
At least he's not barking. Yeah, I've thought about this one just as I continue to process
Yeah.
that experience. Even now, I'm sure it's such a huge part of what shapes you. And I think if I were to go back to her, uh, I would just try to emphasize to her that this is a moment for other people to take care of you and not feel burdened with having to take care of everybody else. Does that make sense? I feel
Yes.
like in that experience, I mean, and you can't help it, right? You're a child who is suffering, and you look around at all the people in your life, and it's sad to see them sad and suffering with you.
Yes.
And I know that I didn't have a lot of energy, but I invested the little that I had in trying to make other people feel okay.
Yeah. So
Versus,
they could continue to help you feel okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
versus just being wrapped up in everyone's love and being okay with not being okay.
Yeah.
Because it is a big thing to work through, and we are resilient and we do work through it, but it's actually okay to be the one that is in the center of everyone's love during the experience.
Okay, now I really want to put my hands on you.
I know.
I'm
If people
hugging
even
you,
watch this
hugging
video
you, right?
and not know how madly in love and soul sistery we are, and honestly, it was the Make-A-Wish organization that brought us together, and like it's just
Yes.
a millionth thing to be so grateful for with this organization. And so, maybe you can share, what your life looks like today and how Make-A-Wish is still a part of it. And look, you've got a million things going on. Busy mom, busy professional. I think probably the vigor of life that you get from experiencing what you've experienced just like finds its way into how you live life to the fullest. So, yeah, what does it look like today for you in Make-A-Wish?
Yes to all that. And well, I have stayed involved with Make-A-Wish since my wish was granted. So just a couple years, about a year after my wish was granted. So I'm going on 32, 33 years as a volunteer, and have honestly pretty much just said yes to almost everything that I could possibly get to on an airplane or in a car or wherever you needed me. Because I know I don't need to explain this to you, but I did say it this way to someone, to a group of folks last fall. We're not paying it back, we're paying it forward, right? And so it has just meant an incredible amount to me to pay it forward, to make sure that more kids get a chance to feel that alive and that brave. And so I've done everything from licking stuff envelopes to I was the first Wish child to serve on the National Board of Directors. I helped recruit the second Wish child to serve on the National Board of Directors, and right now I continue with board service locally and do volunteer professional and personal development coaching for Make-A-Wish, which I love doing. So I do anything I can do, and it does shape the way that I feel about my life. And I grew up here. I really grew up in Make-A-Wish. I absolutely did. So I've learned a lot of things here I've brought to the rest of my life. So it's not just bringing the wish to it. It's a lot of things I've learned being able to be involved. So yeah, my wish impacts me every day still, for reals. Yeah. And for you, it was such a joy. I mean, I just have to say, the phone call that I got many years back saying, hey, we'd love to have an extraordinary person serve on this board that has wish experience, and we think we found her, and will you meet her? And so I had the incredible honor of getting a chance to sit across the table from you, which, I mean, I think they probably begged us to leave that restaurant. we like pitched it. We're not going anywhere. You're going to have to give us this table for the rest of the evening, or the rest of the day. it was such an honor and such a joy to meet you in that way, and to be able to you know, to be part of that experience for you. So I'd love to hear what that was like for you, and how you're connected to our mission still.
Well, it just, yes. I mean, we could have a whole series. An episode wouldn't even do it. A whole series on how that experience alone has just been so, it's just such a precious experience for me, and how grateful I am to Make-A-Wish for bringing us together, because we were destined to be together.
We were.
We were, and that was clear from hello. And I recently moved to Washington from the Bay Area, but while in the Bay Area, served as a Wish grantor for about 10 years, and then served on the national board for Make-A-Wish, and then recently have moved to the Washington area. I'm very excited with my emerging relationship with the local chapter. So it's just, same with you. Anything I can do to, I love this, pay it forward, keep the energy on something so important. And I love that Make-A-Wish is part of my story. When it's part of my social media, it's part of when I introduce myself, because I think it really helps explain. And frankly, it's been a part of how I've connected with a number of people. When I see it, like, oh, I see that you're actually involved with Make-A-Wish. It's like, it just deepens the connection with anyone you meet. Yeah, and what an incredible, and I love what being a part of this organization does to model for my son, to model for, so in my life, in my work, to show the people that I interact with. I'm a leader at Microsoft, and to show the people that I interact with, why this is important, and share the story, and inspire others to get involved. So I just love it. And Make-A-Wish, it's a very special and unique place, an organization, and even like the origin story, all of it is just it granting these kinds of wishes. And I find that, like, it's a really big question to ask children, like, if they could do anything, if they could have anything, if they could go anywhere, and to be a part of that moment. Yes. For a child is what really just energized me about wish granting. And I always wanted to be the volunteer that is like with the child, like, you talk to the parents, do the paperwork. Really important. Yeah. But that connection with the child just brings me back to the special moment. And what a blessing that is.
Oh, absolutely. And I so appreciate that we, even though, we have grown, I mean, exponentially since our founding, and yet we are still scrappy. And I love that about us, right? I love that we will still do whatever it takes, to get to the heart of a child's wish. And that is so, it's never become automatic or commonplace, or to the person that is involved with Make-A-Wish. They are like, oh yeah, no, each one of these is its own thing, right? And we put just as much energy and love and attention and scrappiness and resourcefulness into every single one of these wishes. It's just, nothing about it is taken for granted by our incredible volunteers, and that continues to inspire me so much. It just continues to inspire me all the time, that people are willing to give something they've been doing for a long time just as much energy as the day that they started, which is awesome. So good. It's so good. Yeah, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to do this?
This is right. Everybody should do this.
Everyone should do this. Yeah, everyone should be involved.
So wonderful. Like, I miss you. I'm so grateful to just connect with you in this way. Thank you so much. And thank you to Make-A-Wish for giving us another excuse to hang out.
That's right. I love it too. So, and on that note, we would love together, as soul sister Wish adult children, whatever the right word is. I don't know. We are
right?
Wish alumni here in our adulthood that still feel like kids every day, and when we get to talk about our wishes, which is pretty incredible. The energy stays that real for so long. So we would love to say to this extraordinary chapter, happy 35th anniversary, Make-A-Wish Alaska and Washington. We love you. Thanks so much for having us.